Welcome to part 4 of our tour of our Church of St. Mary of the Nativity in Plantersville, Texas. We're now going to go into what we call the new section. We're starting here because the one alteration we had to make to the old church was go through this wall. We made this doorway here to go through this wall in order to add on. And I'll show you what we did add on. So come on down. We added on this glass section as the connector to what we added, and we did glass for a very special reason. We wanted it to be see-through, like as if the church was not connected to what we had added on. We didn't want to do anything to kind of compromise the old church. So that's why this is a glass section added onto. One of the things that I always like to point out is this particular statue of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. It's very unique to have a statue of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Normally it's an icon. If you notice the icon over here, but this statue of Our Lady of Perpetual Help actually comes from, as I mentioned in the earlier tours, from the DePrado Studios. They're right outside of Chicago. This particular statue was actually in the nursing school dormitory of St. Joseph's Hospital when they had a nursing school. And when the nursing school closed in 1965, Irene, she was at Gottselig, she's Irene Kerr, had asked she worked there, and she asked Sister Martina for this statue. And Sister Martina gave her this statue. And it was in her and her mother's house between here and Hempstead for many years, and I would bring communion to them. And Our Lady of Perpetual Help was on the right, on the left, and there was a risen Christ on the other side that she had gotten from Christ the King when they were sort of eliminating statues. And she gave that statue we gave it over to Christ, we gave it over to All Saints Church, where it came from. But get back to this. So we were very fortunate, and after her mother died, Irene gave us this statue of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Again, Miss Donnell Hill completely restored it. Great story. I don't know if you've ever noticed or known the history or the story of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, but Jesus is a little boy, and Jesus is playing. He's playing. Two angels appear to him. Angel Gabriel, Angel Michael. Angel Gabriel shows him the cross he's going to die on. And you know this is from the Greek church, because notice the Greek cross. It's the double cross. So you have Gabriel shows him the cross he's going to die on. Michael shows him the spear that's going to spear his side, and the instruments of his torture, how he's going to suffer. Jesus gets scared, and he turns quickly. And when he turns quickly, his mother, Mary, has just picked him up. So she was always there for him. She's always there for us. That's why perpetual help. She's perpetually looking over us, watching over us, as she watched over her son. But notice, when he turned real quickly, he broke his sandal. This is really, people forget or they don't notice the broken sandal. It's the broken sandals in the icon. It's the Greek way of showing his humanity. He broke his sandal. He was so scared when he turned, he broke his sandal. So again, and there's a lot of other imagery going on. Over here you have the Greek words on the top, Mary Theotokos, Mary the God bearer. Then you have Angel Gabriel, Michael. Over here is the Ichthos, Jesus Christ, Son of God, Savior, pointing to Jesus. If you want to go online, there's a whole lot of, I don't know if they're reading it into it or what, but there's a whole lot of symbolism going on with everything in that statue. As we move along, these holy water fonts actually come from a place in LaGrange, Texas. The Stoltz, not funeral home, but the Stoltz Monument Company. And I used to know Mr. Stoltz, Sonny Stoltz. He was like 99 when I met him. And he lived for about 10 more years, I think. But I told him, and he was real surprised that we had two holy water fonts from his Stoltz Monument Company. How they got here, we don't know. As we go into here, this is now what we call the new edition. In fact, you can see we tried to match it up with the interior of the old church. I'm going to start, first of all, with this item here that many people don't even notice, and there's another little item over there we'll move over to. But here's the wine cruet and the water cruet and the little plate that they sat on. This comes from Father Klein, the original pastor's estate. The Klein family gave us these because Father Klein probably used these here in this church when he first built the church. But they come from his estate. And then we also have on this other side a little reliquary that was his. The relic is no longer in there, but it was from his estate. And he probably had this somewhere in the church or maybe used it privately. Our little things, people ask me about the little stands here. Warrington Round Top. Again, I always love Warrington Round Top. I pick up all kinds of stuff at Warrington Round Top. Now we're going to do something probably a little unique, but part of our tour here at St. Mary's is always our bathrooms. Because our bathroom, we did not have bathrooms until we did this, added on to this section. So we had to go, everyone, priest included, had to go all the way to the hall to go to the bathroom. So our bathrooms are really what we added this section on, but when the architects gave us what we call a 5-star bathrooms. So we are so proud of our bathrooms. They're part of our tour. When Cardinal Leonardo came to do the blessing of this stuff, and I was showing him around, I showed him our bathrooms. I remember when he started Mass, he says, I think Father Kuchera is more proud of his bathrooms than anything else. And I said, Cardinal, you don't know what it was to have to walk all the way to the hall to go to the bathroom. So our bathrooms are really spectacular. We'll open this up so Carol can do a little. Now this painting right here is interesting because I was very fortunate to be invited to be a chaplain on a tour for Medjugorje about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now. And while in Medjugorje, I saw this particular painting. It's one of the uncles or somebody that's related to one of the visionaries painted this. He was a painter, so one of the visionaries painted. But I thought that was a great picture for the women's bathroom. This bench is about 1750s German Gothic. So we used to be out in the main part. Now we put it in here. But again, like everything else, I have to show you, it is utilitarian. And so we have a utilitarian use for it. But again, at St. Mary's, we never buy from catalogs. I'm going to let you go in, Carol, and take another special. Again, you have to do this because we're so proud of our bathrooms. There you go. And here on the wall, we'll start with this picture over here, Carol. This picture actually is a picture of when we expanded the church. The church was cut like 3/4. The sanctuary is here. The sanctuary was moved, 33 feet. And the interesting thing about the moving of it, they cut it, then they had two steel beams, and literally we had a crowd on this side watching this. And they literally soaped it with hand soap. And they pulled it with a winch truck. And I mean, it just went like, I have to tell you, my bags were packed in case something happened. I felt like these people are gonna kill me if this doesn't work. But it worked, and then you'll notice in the other picture how you see how it all had to be, it all was framed in, and then Miss Donnell Hill, again, our resident artist, she came in and matched it all up so that it looks you can't tell really where the cut was made. During this time, we were all in the hall, and the church was totally closed, so no one could know what was going on until we revealed it when it was all done. This picture, this lead glass window here, is a little addition we put in. One of our parishioners, Mr. Gavin, did this for us, and it's his statement of faith in the Blessed Mother, the 12 stars and all that, but he did that for us. You'll notice over here, we still call these Father Kelly's Confessional. And Father Kelly's Confessional, I have to say about these windows here on his confessional, in 1994, they did a 100th year anniversary of the church of 1894, the original church. And when they did that, they put these windows actually in the front doors. They were in the front doors of the church. Well, when we did the restoration, I wanted to go back to the original kind of doors that didn't have any windows in there. So we took the windows out of the 1994 celebration. We put them here as part of this confessional. This is kind of the more of a it's a bigger confessional than what I call mine. This is Father Kelly's. And so it works out very well. Carol, I want you to look at this, do a thing on this right here, the screen on this side. You can do the screen or on either side. I have to say, again, this is going to be considered a piece of folk art because our guys got together. I wanted a screen. I'm not too much into the face-to-face thing where you were sitting in a chair. I like a little bit of a screen between us. Not that I'm scared of you, but so I wanted a screen here. And they came up with this. All of this they hand did and took all of these designs from the main altar. So all the designs of the main altar are in here. And I think that as time goes on, this is going to be considered a piece of folk art because it's all hand done. And again, done with a lot of love. And as I said on my Mass for the fourth Sunday of Easter and talked about all the help, the early church the apostles needed help. Well, I've got help that does some super stuff around here. This is one of the things that I just really enjoy pointing out. As we look back over here, Carol, you'll notice that's the St. Mary's original Holy Name Society banner. I found it upstairs in the choir loft. Before we redid the choir loft, there was a storage room, and I found that up there and thought it really needed to be displayed. And it's when every parish in those days had a Holy Name Society, actually. Again, we're going to move a little over this way. Let's do the bathroom first. You got to see the men's bathroom too. You can't just do the ladies. We're going to do the men's too. We don't have a rug or a sitting place, but it's still nice. But what I wanted to show you is this particular picture too. I got that same time as the other one in Medjugorje, again painted by, I think, the same guy. And again, with Joseph looking over Mary and Jesus. I thought it was the perfect picture for our men's bathroom, and kind of makes the space special. But you can walk in, Carol just showed them that it's a little simpler than the ladies, but it's nice. In fact, we are uptown. My mother would say, we are in high cotton. That was her phrase all the time. We are in high cotton. And right here, we have a statue of Saint Nicholas. Now, this is about 1850s from Spain. It's a Spanish statue. And I see it has this little rod over here. It really should be over here, I think. But when I got this, I got this from an antique shop in Houston. They call me whenever they got stuff. And we actually made this niche for this statue and the other statue. But when he called me, he says he had these two statues, and I went over there and he said, this is St. Nicholas. I said, I don't know. I don't think that's St. Nicholas. I said, I don't think that's St. Nicholas. He said, yeah, when I bought these statues, when I bought this statue, they told me it was St. Nicholas. I said, well, these kids just don't look happy. I said, there's nothing happy about, look at those poor kids. And he said, no, well, would you believe Bill Malik, one of our parishioners, went online and he found an early legend of St. Nicholas. The early legend of St. Nicholas is 3 kids were murdered and put in salt brine, and he raised them from the dead. And that became his connection with children. And so he sort of morphs into this St. Nicholas that takes care of children until we get Santa Claus, who brings gifts to children. But we have written over here on the side, on this, the whole little legend thing, and then you've got the icon of Saint Nicholas there. But it's really interesting, because I thought for sure that couldn't be Saint Nicholas. I don't know who it was. And sure enough, it turned out to be Saint Nicholas. And this window, and this window here kind of duplicates the window over the main entrance to the church. And we put on it, peace to all who enter here. And this is dedicated to a young man, Hayden O'Brien. Hayden was one of my faithful servants when I first got here. And he died at a very early age. And so that's Mr. Hayden's window. But again, it mimics the window on the other entrance. Now this is the statue of Saint Isidore the Farmer. You notice he's got his cotton here. Cotton was the crop of this area. Pretty much all of Central Texas is cotton. And so he's Isidore the Farmer, and that's pretty much a statue of Isidore. And the story of Isidore is really kind of interesting. He comes around, I think comes around about 1042, something like that. And but the story about Isidore was, here's Isidore the Farmer, and he would come to church, to Mass, I guess, and he'd go to church to pray. And he'd get so involved in his prayer that he'd forget about his work at the farm. And so the angels would come and do his plowing, and the angels would come and do his harvesting until he got there. So he's the patron of farmers. That's why I got him. And there's little stories right there too. And he's one of the few saints that his wife is also a saint. So, again, this area done to really mimic the main church, and again, we're very proud of the old church, But again, we're proud of this too, because this sort of moves us into the modern age. I always said, in enlarging the church, I made brides happy because they had a longer aisle to walk down. When we added this, I made the young people, let's put it there. No, I made the elderly happy because now they had bathrooms that were accessible during that. But I made the young people not so happy because when they could go to the bathroom over to the hall, they could wander around for a much longer period. Now the parent can kind of keep track of them. So anyway, so this is the end of our tour of St. Mary, the Church of the Nativity in Plantersville. Hope you enjoyed it. Come down, and if I'm around, I'll try to give you the $1 tour. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, Kara, for filming this. Thank you much.